I figured out. All right. My name is John Connock, and I am a graduate student at Murray State University. And today I'm just going to be talking about a couple aspects of my graduate research study wetlands in Kentucky, looking at the amphibian reptile communities. So as many presenters have already talked about, the U.S. and Kentucky have lost a substantial portion of the wetlands over the last 200 years. And that has contributed a lot to the plight of many wetland fauna taxa, such as amphibians and reptiles, and largely been a major part of their declines. But in the last few decades, programs like the Wetland Reserve Program have been implemented to restore wetlands, which has potential to increase the amount of amphibians and reptiles. But they haven't really been monitored too much. So for my graduate research, we were monitoring amphibian reptile communities in wetland reserve sites, as well as these cultivated sites in the top left here, and these reference bottomland hardwood sites to use as comparisons to see whether or not the WRP sites are effectively bringing these communities back. And so for my research, I surveyed 2 cultivated sites, which are kind of degraded wetlands, 9 WRP sites, and 3 reference bottomland hardwood systems, 2 in the case of turtles. For my amphibians, I used timed DITNet surveys from 2019 to 2021 on a monthly interval, and focused primarily on the larval stage. For turtles, I did 2 rounds during the summers of 2020 and 2021 using 4 trap nights, 3 times each at each site. And because of the substantial variation in site size, we did have to base our number of traps on site area. So for my stats, I used an analysis of dissimilarity as well as NMDS, or non-metric multidimensional scaling, using Jacquard method on the catch per unit efforts for each of these taxa rather than the raw abundance scores. Overall, for amphibians, I captured 2,017 amphibians, which comprised 14 species. And overall, the WRP, which is our restored sites, they varied significantly in their diversity and the community composition. But what we ended up seeing was there was no significant difference and community composition among the 3 different site types. Now for turtles, we ended up capturing 703, which represented 669 individual turtles, of which there were 7 species, an 8th that I only captured by hand once and didn't capture at all in the actual trapping effort. But most importantly is that we had minimal captures in our cultivated sites. Only 4 total individuals were caught. And what we ended up seeing when we ran a community composition and analysis dissimilarity was kind of a marginal significant difference, if you want to call it that, at 0.08. But what's most important here, if you look on the NMDS, you can see the 2 blue dots at the bottom. Those are cultivated degraded sites, and they're largely separated from the WRP and reference sites. And so what does this really all mean in the grand scheme of everything? These are very broad trends right now. And I am looking to do further analysis of state environmental and landscape associations, very similar to what Andrew talked about for Clay's research, between the cultivated WRP and reference sites, because there are substantial differences in the immediate surrounding area as well as the larger area around them. And I believe that even though the turtle data may have not been statistically significant at 0.05, it does represent a very practical significant difference because our cultivated sites struggled to support turtles at all. Like I said, we only had 4 total captures there. So even though there may not be a statistical significance, the WRP sites and the reference sites are supporting very large, very diverse turtle communities. So with that, I'd just like to thank Karen Bauman and Kinga Hill. They have helped me a lot in my research, as well as field assistants from multiple undergrads throughout my time in grad school, as well as my funding sources. And with that.